Today I want to talk about what is going on in America and how it is an absolute attack on civilization. And I'm not talking solely about Western civilization, which it is. I'm talking about living in a civilized society where there are morals and mores and right behavior. It is astonishing to see what is coming out in all sorts of places. I mean, we are being attacked, if you believe in living in a civilized society, by all angles. Hi, it's November 16th. I'm Deanna from Rational Educator, and let's dive right in. Now, I'm a historian, and so I want to start with a little bit of history. In about the 1700s BCE, we have a Babylonian leader named Hammurabi, and he comes up with law codes. Now, these aren't the very first law codes that we know about, but they are the first ones that we've seen in their entirety, and there are about 280 of these laws. So let's talk about why we have laws. Why do we even need laws? Well, the laws are there because somebody in a society did something that kind of acted or worked outside of norms, what we call societal norms. And so if that happens, and it happens often enough, then you need a law to codify it. And a law basically says this is not allowed, and oftentimes will also include a consequence. And we can see that here with the Code of Hammurabi. Now I'm going to scroll down because a lot of these law codes deal with marriage and family issues. So if we go down to 170, around the 170 mark, and I used to teach these in my Mesopotamia class that I taught at the college level. And so let's just look at 170. If his wife bear sons to a man, or his maidservant have borne sons, and the father while still living says to the children whom his maidservant has borne, my sons, and he count them and the sons of his wife, if the father then dies, then the sons of the wife and the maidservant shall divide the paternal property in common. The son of the wife is to partition and choose. And so basically, this is codifying that if a man has children, sons particularly, with his wife, but also someone else, this is giving property rights to children. And so we see a lot of these things. And this obviously came up because they had to codify it, say this is the law and this is how it is to be done. So let's just dive in. I want to talk a little bit about this paper that was published in 2019 by Julie Garland from Carleton University in Canada. And it says, Interrogating Innocence, Childhood as Exclusionary Social Practice. So she is arguing that the idea of childhood and a childhood innocence is white supremacy. It says it right here, white supremacy. And that sort of allowing children to be children and not being faced with all the horrors and the terrors and, the ins and outs of sexuality and behavior, not really forcing that down their throat. In fact, maybe even wanting to shield them from that so they can, gradually allow their intellectual growth as it naturally occurs to where they can handle these larger abstract concepts. Kids, when they're kindergarten, they don't think in these broad abstractions. They can't necessarily, kind of go through all the minutia of a very complex society or idea. They just don't have the intellectual capacity. It takes time to learn a lot of things and to train your brain to think. And so this is really, really alarming. And I looked through the academic databases, and this is not an isolated paper. One thing you can always do when you find one of these things is scroll, sorry that was really fast, scroll all the way down and look at their references, exploit their bibliography. So we see Racial Innocence, Performing American Childhood from Slavery. There are other papers, and I did a search, and this is sort of a little niche area of academic exploration. And so this idea of childhood innocence and children being allowed to be children, that is now racist. It's shocking to me. So let's see what else is out there. We also see that, and going back to what we started with the Hammurabi Law Code, there are laws that are related, and this is from Washington State. So this is the Department of Health in Washington State. And I just chose Washington because I used to live there and I'm familiar with these laws. And so they now have laws on the books that without consent from parents, people of any age can get birth control, have an abortion or abortion-related services, and have prenatal care. So an 11-year-old can go and have these things, and what that's doing is that it's taking not only rights away from the parents, but it's sort of normalizing these behaviors for younger and younger ages. And I don't want to get into the sort of religious argument whether or not these things are right or wrong. What I'm talking about is this idea of breaking down social norms and how these things are on the attack. We also, there's a non-binary individual named Allison Walker who got a PhD and is looking at minor attracted persons and trying to decriminalize this. So a minor attracted person is a person who is attracted to children or people, people under the age, kids under the age of 18. Some are prepubescent, and there's these distinctions and these different terms, and they don't act upon it, but it is a thing. And so what this person is arguing is that it's just another sexual orientation, and it's no different from being, gay, and it's just something. And what it is trying to normalize this attraction to children, which goes back to this taking away of this idea of childhood innocence and wanting to protect children from these different things. And so we see this being an absolute attack. And Allison Walker also, this is her dissertation, Understanding Resilient Strategies Among Minor Attracted Individuals. This minor attraction, a queer criminological issue, was an article that was written prior to the dissertation. And what all of this, everything that I'm seeing, what is happening is a destruction. It is destructive behavior. It is tearing down any idea of what it is to live in a civilized society. So what is a civilized society? It's a place where people understand and have common boundaries and rules and morals, and they can live together. There are laws, usually social structure, and there's an attack on all of this. And what that is nihilism. This is an entirely nihilistic movement. Critical race theory is Marxist, but really their end goal isn't to have this sort of Marxist society. Their end goal, everything is nihilism, to break down anything that is structural, moral, basically the basis of society. They want to tear it down. So if you're not familiar with the term nihilism, this is from the Internet Encyclopedia of Philosophy. This is a definition, and it's a really good definition. Nihilism is the belief that all values are baseless and that nothing can be known or communicated. It is often associated with extreme pessimism and radical skepticism that condemns existence. And that is what is happening. They are condemning the existence of children and what childhood is. A true nihilist would believe in nothing, have no loyalties, and no purpose other than perhaps an impulse to destroy. Now think about that for a second. Think about what is happening. You think that people are so tied to critical race theory, or they're so tied to this, or there's cancel culture. Really, it's not about trying to support one particular movement or one particular thing. It is ultimately about trying to tear down and destroy. That is the end game. If you're a Marvel fan, that is basically it's Thanos. They want to snap their fingers. And not only do they want just half of everything gone, they want everything gone. They are out to destroy. And this is what the battle is about. And it's not going to stop. It's not going to end until we, those who believe in civilization, in America, in freedom, in living our lives, because there is good, because there are opportunities, because the world is not this ugly, horrible place that they want us to believe it is. It's not this place where we are full of fear, where we can't leave our homes, where our children, have to be raised by the state and the government schools. That's what they want. They want us to be so fearful that we just shrivel up. And the only way to combat that is to hit them head on and say, no, I am not going to do that. You are nihilists and you are only out to destroy, and you're not destroying on my watch. That is enough. So that's my take on what's going on in America today. Thanks for watching. If you like the videos, please subscribe, hit that like button, share with your friends. I'm really trying to get out there what is really happening from an insider's point of view. I used to be in education, and it's frightening. And I really, really hope to make a difference and help save this amazing civilization that we have.